All right, Libra, welcome to your monthly horoscope for March of 2015. My name is Athan. All right, so this month is a catalytic month, very powerful, lots of transformation and change possible. We've got the fast-moving planets, which makes this personal, going over the South Node and over Uranus, activating this Uranus-Pluto squaring energy, which has been this ongoing theme for the past few years. Now, this is the final aspect between these two planets this month. So, very powerful here. And of course, since the Sun is involved with that South Node, we have the solar eclipse happening later on in the month on the 20th. So, very powerful. Lots of changes. It has to do with breaking free, taking control, taking power of your life in some particular area. Now, for you, it's involving your third house and your sixth house. Pluto's been transiting your third house of communication, teaching, sharing, learning, all of these sorts of things, helping you release any attachments here, helping you step into your power here, take control and break free of perhaps some old patterns, thinking patterns, these types of things regarding the teaching, sharing, communicating, etc. Now, in terms of that Uranus, Uranus has been transiting with the South Node of your sixth house. So here it's breaking free from perhaps some limitations or old belief systems regarding your health, routine, this is of course mental, physical, spiritual health, which is overall self-improvement. Also developing any crafts. It could also involve work on a day-to-day level. So whatever this is, it's breaking free for you to have more freedom in your life in general. That's what the sixth house is the day-to-day life. And so perhaps there's some old belief systems with the South Node. Perhaps there's old karmic things from perhaps past life or early life or whatever that you're moving from that are no longer serving you here. So the key here is to step into that power of Pluto and in terms of Uranus to break free of anything that might be holding you back from being your true authentic self for you to have more freedom in your life in those particular areas. Now the month starts off with Venus going over the South Node on the 1st. The month just starts off right away. Right on the 1st, Venus going over the South Node is wanting to release the old. Now it's nice with Venus because there's a desire here for it. There's a wanting of it. And this is what the first 10 days of the month really symbolizes, is all of us wanting to make these changes and feeling optimistic about it. Now the optimism is coming from Jupiter actually on the 1st as well. Jupiter's trining up to Uranus, activating this whole Uranus-Pluto square, creating excitement, wanting excitement, and feeling optimistic about the changes you see. Now, Mercury is going to be opposing up to Jupiter during this time, so this is a conscious optimism. And only thing that needs to be balanced here for the first, around the 1st here, is the balancing of what you learned recently about that Mercury retrograde in your 4th house. So recently, last month, Mercury went retrograde there. You perhaps learned a little bit about home and family, about your past, your roots, your emotions, these types of things. Perhaps communicating them or relating to them in some way. And so whatever you learned about that, take with you into the first part of this March. You'll find that nice and grounding, and it'll balance this optimism quite well. Now on the 4th, we've got then Venus going over Uranus, activating the freedom side of this, wanting freedom. So wanting to release from the old. I think we all, and this is happening on a global shift too, we're just ready for change, like real change. We're tired of the old systems, and this is our personal life and in the big picture. So this is what this is showing me, is the first 10 days is wanting this. And there's a drive for it too, because on the 4th, Mars plays a big role in all of this. Mars goes over the South Node. So this is no longer just wanting the freedom, wanting the change, we're demanding it. We're driven to do it. And there's an action energy to be used here, so utilize it. It's very personal to us as well. So driven to release the old here on the 4th. Then on the 5th, we've got a full moon in Leo, okay, which is coming from this whole new moon energy of Aquarius, which took place in your 5th house, okay? So last month in February, there was some new beginnings regarding perhaps your creativity or your self-expression in some way, or enjoying life, or anything involving what puts a smile on your face. So whatever that is, it's coming to a culmination this month. And it's on the 5th, and it's trining up to Pluto. So it's a positive energy here, and it's involving Leo. So there's this expression for all of us, and for you, it's your 11th house. So maybe this has to do with the big picture stuff. Maybe it has to do with your community, with the global shifts, or just maybe your ideals, or perhaps even the satisfaction that you're getting from your work. because Jupiter has been transiting your 10th house. He is retrograde right now at the moment, but you have had abundance and opportunities relating to the work sector. So perhaps this is a time of culminating of perhaps the wealth that you get from your work. You know, the 11th is second from the 10th, which means the abundance we receive from our work. But what's the greatest abundance? It's giving, it's contributing. So that's why the 11th house is strongly associated with that. So whatever that is, a full moon, nice illuminating energy regarding your giving and being of service, I think is going to help support these changes. Now on the 8th, we've got Mercury going into Aquarius, which for you is that 5th house. So I think just naturally, because of these new beginnings and things revolving around that 5th house of your self-expression, you'll be thinking about it for the bulk of this month with Mercury in that 5th house. Now on the 9th, we've got Mars trining up to Jupiter. So this is now driven optimism, where we can feel good about it, I think. This is where we start to feel good about the energies that we're moving forward with, and there's an opportunity here to expand, to open up, okay? And again, this early part of the month is this optimistic sort of energy, especially with this aspect. Now on the 11th, Mars goes over Uranus, and this is what activates the Uranus-Pluto square. Mars going over Uranus on the 11th happens right when the Uranus-Pluto square goes exact this month, from the 11th through the 22nd. Okay, so this middle chunk of the month, it starts with Mars, again, wanting that change, okay? But we have to step into it. We have to take control. That's what the Pluto element is saying. We have to step into that power. So the middle part of this month, all the way through the 22nd, it is the final culmination, final time of change, taking that power back, working towards our visions, getting that freedom in our life in this particular area involving your 3rd and your 6th house. If you work with these energies instead of squaring up to them, then you'll find it very flowing actually. You want to step into and assume the role of both Uranus and Pluto here. And now I think we can all enjoy this very much. Venus is going into Aries on the 12th, okay, which is your 7th house. Now this is where things start to shift from your 6th house of the routine, the day-to-day stuff, and go into the relationship side of things. Now this is what's leading us into April, and it starts with Venus leading the pack here at the middle of the month. Now it is in Aries, so I think all of us are going to be enjoying the energy that we're putting into our life in general here. But for you, it has to do with relationships, okay, which is a Libra sort of thing anyways. So nice blessings, nice enjoyment for the next roughly 30 days with Venus in that 7th house. Enjoy those relationships from mid-month onward. Spend time with friends, family, your spouse, romantic relationships, whatever. More relationships, the better. That is the enjoyment factor for you this month. Now on the 14th, we've got Saturn going retrograde, and he recently went into your 2nd house. So there is some rethinking going on this month in regards to these shifts and transformations and changes. And it's involving your 2nd house of your sense of self-worth, okay, your abundance in life, which comes from self. So recently Saturn going in there, hopefully you've been putting in the hard work, or at least thinking about building the structures in your life to set up a foundation in regards to your sense of self-worth and abundance, okay? Now with Mars going retrograde, it's just a reflection of this. You want to reflect for the next few months in terms of how are these structures going? How are what are these things that you're building? Are they providing, more of this feeling of abundance in your life, and how you can improve that particular area as well. So it's reworking in many ways the 2nd house of, abundance, self-worth, and finances, etc. Now also on the 14th, this is where things start to become psychological. Lots of emphasis here now with the personal planets and Pisces, okay, which is that 6th house for you. So there's this routine, this day-to-day stuff, right? And there's also these old emotional patterns and things regarding the health and routine. Maybe, wanting to retreat into it, maybe overdoing it, whatever it is for each of us individually. The sun goes into your 6th house now on the 14th onward for the next 30 days. This is shining that conscious awareness of the unconscious, okay, which is perhaps some of these, subconscious influences involving the 6th house matters. So this is where I think all of us are going to gain more of a spiritual understanding, an understanding of our unconscious, subconscious, our drives, our motivations, and that's what this whole shifting is about. is by going through the motions of these transformations and changes, we're learning more about ourselves on a deep level. That's what all of this symbolizes. And on the 20th, that solar eclipse is happening in that 6th house, in Pisces, you see. So that's even more illumination of that, okay? Now on the 18th, we do have Mercury going over Neptune, which is always a spiritual understanding anyways, but this is a spiritual understanding of your self-expression. So we're kind of going back to last month here in terms of thinking about these things you learned perhaps in regards to your enjoyment of life, self-expression, creativity, whatever, involving Neptune. Neptune's been transiting this part of your chart for a long time, so there's a spirituality, there's a going with the flow when it comes to your self-expression and enjoyment in life. And I think there's an understanding there that's going to contribute to all of this around the 18th when Mercury goes over Neptune. Now, like I said, on the 20th, we've got that solar eclipse, new beginnings. This is leading into the next 6 months, but it's always a transformational time of readjusting to our life path, these solar eclipses. So we want to reflect around this time. The more reflection and receptive we are to the new energies of what this means for us will help build a nice solid foundation for the upcoming month. So paying attention around the 20th will be key, especially regarding these 6th house matters, craft, work, in this sense, maybe some of those things behind the scenes and the unconscious realm of life. Then on the 22nd, like I said, the Uranus Pluto square lifts off, and whatever was done is done and learned is learned at that point, but we start to move forward now, learning more and more about ourselves in the process, hopefully implementing them and taking those energies and bringing them into the rest of this year. On the 23rd, I think we can enjoy this. Mars is going to go into Aries, where he's in dignity, he rules Aries, he loves it, great energy, great drive. It can be from perhaps getting this ball moving, because that's how it works. Once we get the ball moving, then we start to feel good about actually getting active and involved. So that's a possibility, all right? Wanting to take charge in our life. And so for you, this is involving that 7th house. So again, motivated by relationships. Okay, something's going on there. But in either case, moving that energy forward, perhaps working with others, perhaps spending time having fun with friends and family, that's providing a motivational force for you from the 23rd onward. Now on the 27th, we got Mercury then going into Pisces, furthering this reflection and understanding of those 6th house matters. Then on the 30th, we got the Sun going over the South Node to finish off the transits of the month, helping illuminate the old, the unconscious patterns, all of those things further, and perhaps even some more spiritual awakening and understanding about ourselves that's going to lead us into April. All right, Libra, have a great month. Let me know if you guys have any questions at all. Please get in touch if you'd like a personal reading. Do check out the weekly horoscopes for this week. I do the dailies as well. And hope you guys have a fantastic month. Take care.